Iran has announced that it has fired missiles at the Central Command headquarters at the Al Adid air base in Qatar.
President Trump visited it only a few weeks ago. The Pentagon says the base was attacked by short and medium-range ballistic missiles launched from Iran, but there are no reports, it says, of US casualties.
President Trump has called for peace tonight following an attack by Iran on a US military airbase in Qatar in revenge for US strikes on its nuclear facilities at the weekend. This evening, Mr. Trump, writing on social media, said that Iran had got it out of its system and that hopefully there'd be no further hate. He also thanked Iran for giving the US prior warning of the strikes.
Here's a look at Iran's response that Trump is now referring to as weak.
Out of Iran launching a missile attack at a U.S. military base in Qatar hours ago. The missiles did not reach the base or any major city. Instead, they were intercepted by an air defense system.
And meanwhile, breaking within the last hour, President Donald Trump says Israel and Iran have agreed to complete and total ceasefire that will be phased over the next 24 hours.
Big news. The announcement coming on Truth Social just hours after Iran launched a retaliatory attack against the U.S., bombing 3 of Iran's nuclear sites over the weekend.
Says the ceasefire will be completed in phases, and once complete, the war will be considered ended.
6 hours from now, this would begin. For 12 hours, it will go. And if it holds, it would then be ended. This is a rather lengthy post. I'm going to read the highlights. Officially, I'm reading from this quote, Iran will start the ceasefire, and upon the 12th hour, Israel will start the ceasefire, and upon the 24th hour, that would be the end to the war.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Ingram Angle. I'm Laura Ingram, my angle in moments. But first, tonight, we begin with major breaking news. It's a development that few thought was possible even a few days ago. But with President Trump in charge, we've seen time and time again, the so-called experts are proven wrong.
Yeah, nothing public is coming out of Jerusalem at this hour, Elizabeth, when it comes to either confirming or denying this ceasefire here. But there are a few movements that are happening on the ground here that I'd like to point to. I mean, you read the president's statement in which he said that Iran will start the ceasefire upon the 12th hour. Israel will start the ceasefire, but that they are both undertaking their final missions. There are a few movements that are ongoing right now. We just had alerts in the Golan Heights a few moments ago.
Today, Iran launched missiles at a U.S. military base in Qatar in retaliation for the American bombing of its nuclear sites. Qatar and the U.S. have said there were no reported injuries or deaths. Iran has said the missile attack on the U.S. base is in response to the nuclear sites this weekend, signaling it's likely to desire to de-escalate. President Trump has also claimed there is a phased-in ceasefire between both Israel and Iran within the next 24 hours.
Iran and Trump's war promises. A closer look. It all started amidst rising tensions in the Middle East, a region where every move is loaded with history, rivalry, and plenty of dramatic irony. Picture a stage set for international chess, with Iran making a series of deliberate moves designed not to escalate into outright war, but to remind everyone that it still holds significant power. Instead of backing down, Iran's recent actions have been a carefully measured display, a way of saying, "We're strong, and we're not about to be pushed around." At the same time, whispers of a ceasefire began to circulate, a tentative pause in the fighting that felt a bit like someone suggesting, "Let's take a breather and see if we can sort this out." A ceasefire, ideally, is the pause button on a heated argument, giving both sides a chance to rethink and de-escalate. However, as the plot thickens, things are not as straightforward as they seem. A recent twist in the story comes from a bold declaration by former President Trump, who announced that a complete and total ceasefire would soon be in place between Israel and Iran. According to the statement, the plan was for Iran to initiate the ceasefire, followed by Israel joining in, and then eventually for the conflict to be declared over. But here's where the suspense ramps up. Iranian officials have disputed the notion that a formal, binding ceasefire exists. In other words, while some headlines celebrate an impending pause in hostilities, Tehran insists that no official agreement has been reached. The real-world outcome remains uncertain, with the possibility that what we see might only be a temporary lull rather than a lasting solution. Now let's switch scenes over to the United States, where former President Trump once captivated audiences with his promise to end all wars.
If you want to avoid nuclear war, I strongly urge you to vote for Donald Trump. In fact, I would go so far as to say that a vote for Kamala Harris is a vote for nuclear war.
A vote for Kamala Harris is a vote for Dick Cheney, and it's a vote for war, more war, likely World War III and nuclear war. A vote for Donald Trump is a vote for a man who wants to end wars, not start them.
There must also be a complete commitment to dismantling the entire globalist neocon establishment that is perpetually dragging us into endless wars, pretending to fight for freedom and democracy abroad. We should have never gone into the Middle East. We should have never gone into the Middle East. Under my leadership, we will turn the page forever on those foolish, stupid days of never-ending wars. We're rebuilding our military stronger than ever before, and we are not going to deplete it again on stupid, senseless, endless wars. I was the first president in decades who didn't start a war, and the worst, most incompetent, most corrupt president in history is going to drag us into World War III. And this horrible, horrible president is dragging us toward World War III. We're going to be in World War III soon. Because I think we would have been good with Iran. I don't want to do anything bad to Iran. Together we're fighting to secure our borders, end the endless foreign wars, and defend the working people of America. What would happen if we had a war? We won't, with me. But you will have World War III, I believe, without me. But we won't.
Tell you what, 6 months in, Steve, and here we are, turning back on the campaign promises, and we bombed Iran on behalf of Israel. Yes, it was on behalf of Israel. We're entering a nuclear war, the World War III, because the entire world is going to erupt. And you want to know the people that are cheering it on right now? Their tune is going to drastically change the minute we start seeing flag-draped coffins on the nightly news, on Fox News that brainwashes all the baby boomers, and on CNN that brainwashes all the Democrat baby boomers. And that is exactly how this is going to go down.
For many, that was a refreshing change from the endless cycle of conflict, a bold vision pointing toward a simpler, less combative future. But as the narrative unfolded, reality painted a different picture. Despite the anti-war rhetoric, the Trump administration took military actions that, for many, appeared to contradict the promise. Military support for allies like Israel during regional conflicts has been widely regarded as being at odds with the idea of disengaging from perpetual warfare. It's a stark reminder that grand campaign slogans often collide with the messy, complex demands of international politics. So here we are, caught up in a multi-layered drama where measured military actions, the hope for a ceasefire, and the clash between bold promises and gritty realities all play their part. Iran's controlled posturing sends a strong, clear message without triggering an all-out war, while the debate over the ceasefire agreement reflects both the potential for de-escalation and the challenges of reaching an enduring peace. Meanwhile, Trump's lofty promise to end all wars sits side by side with decisions that seem to favor continuing military involvement, a vivid illustration of how international affairs are rarely as straightforward as they might seem. As this intricate story continues to unfold, the big questions remain. Can a genuine ceasefire be secured and maintained, or is it simply another pause before renewed tensions erupt? And will future political promises ever bridge the gap between inspiring rhetoric and the hard realities of global diplomacy? The narrative isn't finished yet, and as always, the dance between ambition and realpolitik keeps everyone on edge.